Well, I was going to say good morning, but I realized I should be saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. But welcome to all of you. So, uh, my name is Andreas, and I am a teacher of the Diamond Approach for those of you who may not know me. And this is the first of a series of 3 webinars with the general title, Being in the World but Not of It. So this particular webinar is called Finding Ground in Uncertain Times. But before we begin exploring our subject of the day, let's do a few minutes of meditation so we can settle in the here and now. So I would like to invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. And now let yourself sense your feet on the floor. And let your attention rest in your feet. You don't have to do anything to make that happen. Just it's like when you turn your eyes in a particular direction, you just see what's there. So you just turn your attention to your feet, and your attention rests in your feet. And from there, you may begin to feel your attention flowing like a liquid upwards into your lower legs, filling your lower legs all the way up to your knees. And then perhaps that liquid attention, awareness, begins to flow into your thighs. And take your time. Just breathe gently. And at some point you may feel it, your attention begin to flow into your hands. And then from there, it may flow into your forearms and into your upper arms, all the way into your shoulders. And then from there, you may feel this liquid attention flowing into your head, through your neck. And take a deep breath again. And as you exhale, you may feel this liquid awareness flow down your neck and chest and back into your belly and pelvis. And you may notice that this awareness, this attention, presence may want to gather in your pelvis, may want to accumulate and concentrate in your pelvis. You can just let that happen when it wants to. And then you can just breathe gently into your belly, being aware of your breath and that attention in your belly, that liquid in your belly, in your pelvis. And perhaps you will begin to feel the liquid attention becoming more dense and concentrated right there in your pelvis and lower belly. And just continue breathing like that until you hear the bell. And then remain. When I ring the bell, remain with your eyes closed and listen to my further instructions. So now just pay attention to your belly again. You may feel this liquid in your belly begin to spread all over your body, your legs and your arms, filling your whole body with this presence, with this awareness that allows you to be here in this moment and participate fully as you would like in this webinar. When you're ready, just take a deep breath and slowly open your eyes. So to state the obvious, we live in very uncertain times. Our whole world is in upheaval in many different ways. Many of us feel unsafe, afraid, hungry, so many feelings. And yet, in order to feel, experience the underlying spiritual ground of reality, we need to relax. We need to trust in that reality, in that presence. Of course, you may say, how can I relax? Can't you see what's going on around? The world is not safe. And that is true. The world is not as safe as you would like it to be. It's always changing. It's unreliable. And perhaps these days it's even more so. So how can we relax? You see, we end up in a conflict, an internal conflict between our feelings of fear, of unsafety, and wanting to relax and trust in the universe and be present. But you know, the world has been like this for thousands of years. You know, I was reading an editorial in the newspaper the other day, and said the human psyche cannot withstand the pressures of developments that science and technology is stamping on us day after day. The changes are happening too fast. And then, as I read a little further down, it said this was an editorial in a US newspaper in 1870. 150 years ago. What, and I thought, what technology did they have back then? The car was invented just 20 years later. The aeroplane, not until 50 years later. They didn't have phones, I don't think. You know, they had newspapers. They had no internet. And yet, people felt it was too much. So today, many people feel the same way, you know, too much stress, too much advancement, too much progress going on, too fast. And some people say it's getting worse. And some people say it's getting better. But in any case, you know, our world is not perfect. There are a lot of problems. But you know, as Dr. Einstein said, the solution to any problem is never at the level where the problem is manifesting. I'm paraphrasing, but you get the sense. The solution to a problem is never at the level where the problem is manifesting. Right? So the way that we look at the problem does not usually lead to its resolution. In any way, I don't think we can make the world be ideal, even if we can all agree what that should look like. Because I'm sure if we start a discussion about what should the world look like, we will all have a very different idea of what that would be. But even if we can all agree, it's going to take a long time. There will always be something off. The weather, especially now with climate change, we don't know what's going to happen. An earthquake, war, illness, pollution, a new virus. I heard that, you know, this coronavirus came from the bats, and they said they have about 30, the bats have about 30,000 more of those viruses waiting to be released. Gifts, compliments of our friends, the bats. That we disturb their habitat. Could be toxins in our water, new toxins that we haven't discovered yet. There are so many things that can go wrong. Of course, there are also many good things in the world too. You know, there is less hunger than ever before. Statistics say we live in the less violent time in human history. Of course, you wouldn't know that if you listen to the news bombarding us with violence here and violence there all day long, right? So the repetition of those incidents of violence here and there give us the impression that our world is more violent than ever. And yet statistics say it's less violent than ever in human history. There are new technologies are being developed that make life easier in many ways every week. And I'm not just talking about the new iPhone or the new Samsung Note. Scientific discoveries are just pouring in every day. Medical science, it's amazing. But we cannot wait until the world is totally safe to relax. As I said, we will probably wait for a very long time. So how do we relax? What is the solution to this problem? How do we relax in a world that feels unsafe, in a world that is not perfect, in a world that is in continual flux and transformation and change? How do we relax? So we can rest in a deeper place and feel that fundamental ground, that fundamental truth of ourselves and of the world. The solution has been around for a long time. Shiva said it, Krishna said it, Buddha said it, Christ said it, Mohammed said it. I'm sure I'm forgetting a few. So many spiritual leaders have said it in their own way. Realize your true nature. Find the kingdom of heaven within. But they're all pointing to something more fundamental, true nature, more fundamental than the surface. The kingdom of heaven within, something more fundamental, more inner. This inner realization brings freedom from external circumstances. All spiritual teachings say this. Different terminology, different states, that they emphasize, different names. But it's all about inner transformation. We can still take action to change things externally. I'm not saying give up. But first and foremost, we need to find that inner peace, that inner trust, that inner freedom. Otherwise, we'll get caught in the same conundrum that all people before us got caught in. Trying to change the world to make it better so we can relax and all feel better and be happier. It's upside down. Find the inner first. Then what you build will be based on truth, not on fantasies and ideals. So we don't have to wait until the transformation of society and the transformation of the world or the next election to relax. The ground of reality is right here, right now, in this moment, just exactly where you are. We can find we can discover that inner reality, that inner spirit, that inner kingdom, whatever you want to call it. And then we can see things differently. Then our assessment of the situation can be very different. And out of that clearer perception, we can take different action. I think you all know that already. I don't think I'm telling you anything new. So we need to discover this inner reality, this inner dimension that is the fundamental ground of everything. Everything arises, exists, and lives in this field, this ground, this presence. This inner field of presence is not only the nature of your soul, it is the nature of the world also. So when I say inner, I don't mean inside your body. I mean inner, the inner dimension of everything. It's like the inner dimension of space, the inner dimension of the atoms of your skin, the inner dimension of the surface, and the inner dimension of the depth of the earth. The inner dimension, that's the inner ground, the fundamental ground, the ground of reality. So even though nothing is perfect externally in the physical universe, this inner dimension is perfect already. It is actually, this inner dimension, we intuit it, we know it at some very deep level, even though we are not conscious, we are unconsciously aware of it. And that is what makes us know that there is a perfection we can strive for. It is what gives us that inner sense that things can be better. Otherwise, how would we know? It's like, why do all of us want to make things better? Why don't people want to make things worse? You know, sometimes people are making things worse, but they think that's better. They think that's the better. So we are all trying to improve things. Why? Because it's inherent in our nature. That perfection, that inner optimization. So we need to discover, we need to feel, we need to see, we need to perceive the reality of our soul and the reality of the world, the inner reality. Then we live in the world, but we are not of it. We live in the world, the ordinary world, the physical universe. But we know experientially, in our mind, in our heart, in our body, that we are made of something much more fundamental, much more pure and durable. In fact, at that level of existence, we are indestructible. We are immortal. And we need to know that experientially. Our bodies will die, may get sick, may get hurt, and we will all die, as far as we know. Our physical bodies will die. But at that deeper dimension, that deeper nature, that our soul is made of is indestructible, it's immortal. So we need to know this experientially. A belief about it, a thought about it is not going to do it. So when we discover this inner nature of the world, this inner nature of ourselves, we find that it is the same. When we discover it, we find that it is actually a loving presence. It is a loving light, actually, that pervades the whole world, the whole universe. Everything is swimming in this beautiful, loving, warm light, and everything is made out of this light. That is a substantial light, that is almost like a liquid light, that is a presence. I mean, you know that you are more than your body, and that you are more than your ego, that you are more than your personality. You know you are a soul, you are a presence, you are an essence. It's the same with the world. The world we see externally also has an essence, a true nature, a presence, a soul. Actually, your soul is part of the universal soul. That is the soul of the world. That the universe that we see is the body of that soul. So there is a lot more to our world than we see that meets the physical eye. There is depth, there is light, there is love, there is ground. Of course, perceiving the nature of the world is a more advanced stage of realization. We start with realizing the nature of our own soul first, and we need to discover it, not just believe it, like I said before. It's a matter of actually discovering it experientially, feel it, perceive it, live it. And then at some point, we begin to see that, oh my God, she is made of the same substance I am made of. He is made of the same presence I am made of. Wow, people are made of the same. Wow, all people are made of the same substance. Wow, and the cat is too, and the dog, and the birds, and the trees. Wow, the whole universe, right? So it's a gradual realization, or it can be a sudden realization, where suddenly you realize, you feel, you experience the whole world as a living presence. And you are part of it, and everybody is part of it. So this ground of reality that I'm talking about, again, is nothing new. It has been around for a very long time. In fact, it preceded the whole world. The world came out of it, out of this light. I mean, you've heard the stories, right? Metaphors that exist in all the different spiritual traditions. God said, let there be light, and there was light. So this light, this substance, is the first emanation from that mystery. And this light, this substance, this presence, is a loving, gentle, warm, smooth, soft, holding, embracing, loving, relaxing presence. And you can feel it. You can experience it. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. Actually, please do not believe what I'm saying. Open your heart and feel it there. Sense your body, your arms and your legs, and your heart and your belly, and discover it. Discover the truth that's already there within you. What you seek, for what you seek, search within. That's where it all begins. When when you feel this living light, because it is actually alive, you will know that you are taken care of, that the whole world is in good hands. As Christ said to Pontius Pilate, you have nothing in your hands. Any power you may have comes to you from far beyond. Well, the same applies to everybody else, not just Pontius Pilate, the president, the general, everybody. There is a power beyond all of us, the individuals, the personalities. When our soul and our body are touched by this living light, we relax. We settle down into ourselves, into reality, into the truth. And that truth sets us free. Free to be what we really are, to disengage from the lies of the world and see the truth that underlies the world of lies. Then we can do something about the world of lies also. But first we need to be free from the lies ourselves. Then we can do something that comes from the truth. As I'm talking about this light, this loving light, this living light, notice what's happening in your heart. Isn't your heart responding to what I'm talking about? Whether you feel it vividly or you intuit it, it's like our heart speaks the language of the light. Do you know why? Because our heart is the instrument that is sensitive enough to perceive that deeper dimension, that deeper truth, that deeper presence. It is a matter of the heart. This is the living presence that created the world. Rumi said in one of his poems that this mystery speaks and says, I was a hidden treasure and I willed to be known. I wanted to be known. And so here we are. We are the way for that mystery to know itself. All the spiritual traditions have been telling us this for thousands of years. So maybe this morning or this evening, this moment, we can close our eyes and hear that message in our hearts. That message that comes from that ground that we seek. It's calling us back home. It's calling us to return to the truth. It's calling us to return to the heart of our soul, to the heart of reality, to the ground of reality. You know, at the ego level, we perceive a world of random events, a world in the clutches of greed and instinctual drives and fear. But this loving, living light that we came from is teaching us a deeper truth, a deeper reality. The whole universe is full of luminosity, is full of goodness, is full of harmony. When we recognize this light, we are born of the Spirit. We are not just a physical entity. We are then taken out of the world of lies and into the land of the truth. You know, the world is full of suffering, strife, and misery. But at this deeper dimension, it is also harmonious, perfect, and loving. Just like our bodies can be sick and dying eventually, but the atoms in our bodies, the atoms our bodies are made of, are perfect. Nobody has ever found a sick atom. Nobody has ever found a defective atom. Although things made of atoms can get sick and can be destroyed. So in the same way, our world can be sick, but the underlying reality, the ground, is love, harmony, and peace. So anyway, I want to say more, but I need to stop talking so that you can explore what we've talked about in an exercise. And also, so I have something to say for the next 2 webinars. If I tell you everything now, I'll be stuck next time. I won't have anything to say. No, I don't know. I've never encountered that danger of never having anything to say. But let's do an exercise. So we'll get into groups of 3. Grant will just send us randomly into groups of 3. And if you don't want to do the exercise, that's perfectly okay. You don't have to. If you don't want to, make sure you leave the room before Grant sends everybody into the breakout rooms. That way you don't end up in a breakout room and then you leave, and then you have people there that are stranded without somebody to do the exercise with. So anyway, we want to do an exercise in 3 triads, 3 people together. And we want to do a monologue. Basically, you just talk and the other 2 people listen. They don't say anything, they don't comment, they don't make even facial expressions, you know, they don't approve, they don't disapprove, they don't make, No expressions that will encourage or discourage the person in any direction. You just want them to be free to explore the truth about their own beliefs and experience of this world of light, love, and peace that is the deeper truth of reality and the ground of reality. So I want to take 10 minutes to individually talk about, explore, what do you believe and what is your experience of this ground of reality, of this truth, of this field that is light, love, and peace. And then we will take 10 minutes, so that will be, no, I said 10 minutes. Let's make it actually 8 minutes each. So 8 minutes each, so that will be 24 minutes total, and then let's take 10 minutes or so break. So let's take 35 minutes and be back at 5 minutes to the hour. Okay? I would like to end our meeting with a little music meditation. I will play a little music and I will give you a visualization to do. I will ask you to just close your eyes and imagine you are sitting in this beautiful, warm, living light that is loving, that is gentle, that is embracing, that is holding. And this light is forming like a field, a ground. And you feel it beginning to enter your body from the bottom, through your legs, your pelvis, entering into your belly, and gradually filling your whole body with this warm, golden, living, loving light. And just see what happens with, at the same time, listening to this music. So I'm going to share my computer sound. And just listen to this music as you allow the visualization to unfold on its own.